Unacademy. This is our YouTube channel. Just give me 1 minute to make sure that we are live. Okay. Yes. There's usually a time lag between what I'm saying and when it comes live on YouTube. Just like a few seconds to minutes. I just want to confirm and make sure everything is all right. Okay, it seems fine. If there is any audibility issue, make sure you inform me so that I can like try and see somehow to make sure that there's enough sound. Okay, so seems fine. Let me go ahead. So today's topic is Porifera Cnidaria. So if you remember in the last session, I spoke about the basis of classification. So what I'm going to do this time is I put like bits and pieces of this chapter throughout. So what we will be doing is I'll give you a sneak peek into what I do in my sessions at Unacademy. So here you get a little bit of information and a little bit of MCQs I've put up. What we do at our Unacademy session, I'll give you in-depth coverage as well as MCQs as well. That is in every session of mine, irrespective of YouTube or Plus or special classes, free special classes we have. So welcome to Unacademy. We are live on our KCET, that is Karnataka CET YouTube channel, that is governed by Unacademy itself. Okay. My regular sessions are at our platform on Unacademy. You will see me conducting special classes as well as plus classes. So majorly what I do is I conduct plus classes. So we have something called as comprehensive batch. Okay, so here your entire syllabus is managed. Okay, by a few educators. Your entire syllabus, top educators take care of it. So in this scheme, I take up biology. Okay, you can see me here. So you have PCMB, PCM, and PCB. So 3 sessions, usually in English as well. You have in Kannada also. I take up for the English version. Okay, so you will find me at the comprehensive batches. So this is covered. This comes under plus. Okay, it comes under plus. So your entire syllabus we cover. We give you tips and tricks, topic-wise questions, mock tests. You have quizzes and whatnot. Okay. So if you take up our membership, don't forget to enroll in the batch. Now I'm talking about plus, right? So I've been telling in plus we have this. So what is plus? What is so special about plus? Now we have free classes as well, which we call as special classes. Now special classes, what we do is we break down one chapter probably into 2 or 3 units max, and we have the session there. Now what happens here in plus, we go in-depth coverage. Okay, so one, I already told you we have a batch system. So premium content at affordable price. I'll tell you what the prices are. We have structured classes and live doubt clearing sessions. So this is one beautiful part in plus. So you can actually converse with me and ask me any question related to that particular. It's usually a week or so I keep for one chapter. So every bit of it I can complete. So you can always ask me questions constantly. There's one session, 2 sessions sometimes per chapter only for your questions. Okay. So we have quizzes. So it depends on the educator. Some of them keep bi-monthly, some of them keep weekly. So it depends on that. We also have batches, which I've mentioned. Daily practice problems, analysis we give you. We tell you why this is the answer and why this is not the answer also. So we don't stop at one thing. Okay. So single subscription for unlimited access. Now, we have 2,250. I agree it seems a little costly for a month. But what I usually suggest, if you're a 2021 aspirant, you're here for the long haul, right? So I usually suggest you can go for the 12-month plan. So that will come up to 1,031 per month. 1,031. Imagine you're giving this for all your 4 subjects, PCMB. Plus, you're also giving it for all the educators which are there. So irrespective, you don't have to sit in one person. Any favorite educator's class, you can go. You can go to their class, attend their class. You can even, there's a message option. You can go to my profile. My profile is Nivedita Ma'am. You go to my profile You can click on it. You can even, there's a message option, so you can go to the message option, and any doubts you can clear it out there as well. Okay, so we have all these different options. So this 1031 per month also, you can also pay it by EMI. Okay, so again, it is easier for you. So I would suggest to take up a plus session, but otherwise you can come to our special class, see how our special classes go. If you're happy with it, remember plus is much more better. Okay, so don't forget to use my code NIVEDITALIVE. Why I'm saying so is, when you put an educator's code, that time it shows you all the different offers. So plus you get 10% additional discount. Okay, so you put in a code, it will show you the offers. My code is NIVEDITALIVE. Okay, so how do we go to all this? You can you would see that we have uh, description box at the bottom right. So in the description box, you'll find the link for our downloading our app. You'll find the link for subscription as well if you want to subscribe. You'll also find our Telegram channel. So that is good because every educator keeps putting their free sessions links over there. Okay, so if you want these session links, free session links, it will be put up at our Telegram channel. So that is one more good thing. You can, it is a free channel, right? So go ahead, join our Telegram channel. So with that, I will start off with today's topic. I have to keep continually checking on my phone about your chat. So usually, as I said, there's a time lag. If you do have anything to say, or if you have to say hi, or if you have to ask any questions and answer during the MCQs, when you have to answer, make sure you put it at the live chat. I'll keep checking it. Okay. So Nithyananda says hi, hello, welcome to the session. Yes. So as I was saying, today's topic is Porifera and Cnidaria. These are two phyla. We are not only doing that, we're doing one minor phyla as well. A brief intro into all of this I'll give you. Another phyla, that is Ctenophora. Okay. So we will start off. I am your educator, Nivedita. So let us start with phylum Porifera. Now, Porifera. Okay, we'll start with the name itself. What does the word pori mean? P-O-R-I. Pori means pores. You can see there are, it has, okay, I'll write it here. It has pores. Okay, it is an organism which has multiple pores. That's why we call it as Porifera. What about it more? I'll tell you. Now, these sponges, we constantly, in short, now, easy way for you to remember, when you have seen sponges at home, right? Now, that is not an organism. Those are artificially made, synthetic. But you see there are pores all over it, right? So that is the reason even these are called as sponges. Okay. So these organisms, general term is sponges. Now these are usually marine, but you will also find a few freshwater forms as well. So marine matlab sea, ocean, right? Freshwater, you know, are streams. Now these are asymmetrical. So if you remember from my last session, if you have not watched it, go and watch it. Okay. So asymmetrical in the sense you cannot cut the organism to give two equal halves from any angle. Okay, so asymmetrical. Now they show cellular grade of organization. Now cellular matlab they have not yet formed tissues. They have not yet formed tissues. So they're still as cell aggregates in that stage the organism is. So one special feature they have is water transport or canal system. Okay, so if you see, if you take a section of the organism, it would look something like this. Now it will not look exactly like this. This you can cut into two equal halves. That is not how it will look. Okay, so if you see here, let me zoom that for you. You'll have to follow my the hand. Okay, when I'm showing the image, when I'm circling it, I can't use a pen here as far as I know. Yeah, so I'll show you. You can see it. So here, if this is a sponge, you can see it has pores at the outer edge. So these things here are the pores. Okay. Now, what water does? This is the canal, inner canal, which we call as spongocele. Remember coelom? It is called as spongocele. Now, the water enters from the outer region. Okay, wherever in the marine condition or freshwater, wherever the sponge is. So water enters through this opening, which we call as ostia. It enters through it, circulates here in the canal and comes out from the opening, that is the osculum. Okay, spongocele. So ostia to spongocele through the osculum. That is how the water flows. Okay, and these entire thing here, you can see cells, these particular cells which have a particular shape. Can you see that it has a collar? It is like it has a huge Victorian collar. So that collar So let me escape from here. So you can see, like I said, water enters through the ostia, passes into the, circulates in the spongocoel and exits from the osculum. Now, why is this happening? This is happening because you can see flagella in the, this is the flagella, right? So this flagella is flapping. Since it's flapping, it is making the water circulate. Now, why is this circulation required? Because whatever small organisms are there can pass through here, and the organism, it's mode of nutrition. You know, no, all organisms, animals do ingestion, right? They consume the food. So therefore, here also it does the same. So that is about. Now, what else function? One, like I said, food gathering, also respiratory exchange. So if it needs oxygen, right? So therefore, oxygen requirement also, because the water is constantly circulating. Therefore, oxygen also will there will be inflow, and through diffusion it can take off. Also, the waste that is there also will be exited here only, and the waste goes out. So waste removal also it is there. Choanocytes I also mentioned to you. These are collar cells which line the spongocoel and the canal. Now we'll talk about its skeleton now. Sponge is quite squishy and soft, right? But it needs to have, the organism needs to have some structure, right? It cannot be, even your slimy, moldy structure also usually has some kind of skeletal system. Now here it is spicules or spongin fibers. So spicules usually look something like these pointed structures, okay, of different shapes and sizes. Some of them look like this triangular and all that. So these are spicules and spongin fibers. Either one of them. Some organisms have only spicules. Some organisms have only spongin fibers. So that is its skeleton part. Let us talk about its the sexes. Now, sexes are not separate. That means male and female both are in the same organism, right? Therefore, you call it as a hermaphrodite. When male and female both are in the same organism, it is called as hermaphrodite. Now, reproduction takes place in both ways. It can be sexual reproduction. It can also be asexual reproduction. So, when you're talking about asexual reproduction, it is usually in case of sponges a fragmentation. So, it can be broken into parts, and each one of them will grow it by itself, okay, into a separate organism. That is your asexual part. Now, sexual reproduction is usually in the form of gametes. That is common for almost all organisms, where sexual reproduction is usually formation of a male gamete and a female gamete, which have to fuse together, form a zygote, and then form the organism by itself. Okay, so that would be a normal sexual reproduction. Fertilization is internal. Internal matlab within the body, this male and female gamete fusion happens within the body. Therefore, that is internal. Development is indirect. Now, this term is very important for you to know. Direct and indirect. Direct is where one organism is growing, like when it is born, it looks just like the adult but a small miniature form. Now, ours is direct because when we are born, we are small miniature forms of our family, of human this thing. But these, it is indirect, matlab they would have a larval form which does not resemble the adult in any way. Okay, later metamorphosis and all happens, and finally it will start looking like the adult. So that you will say indirectly it is developing, right? So indirect development. Okay, so that is about Porifera. So you have three. I put up three images here. You have cycon, you have spongilla, and euspongia. Now spongilla is what you find in fresh water. Okay, this green one here is what you find it in fresh water. Let us move to coelenterate. Okay, these are brief explanations. Don't worry, you want in-depth explanation, that also I do. Okay, I do that on the Unacademy platform. Here, because our sessions are quite short, I give you a brief outlook. In-depth you want, do come to my sessions, you'll enjoy it. Okay, so here, phylum coelenterate. Now, this is also called as a Cnidaria. Now, why I will tell you. Here, the organisms can be both sessile or free swimming. Now, usually, like in case of Porifera, these are also aquatic, marine forms. Okay, you also have a few freshwater forms here too. Now, here we can call them as sessile or free living. Here, sessile matlab what? It is having sedentary, so it is attached to a substrate. It cannot move anywhere it wants to move. It will be attached to the substrate, and there only there is its food has to come. Okay, attached. So that is called sessile. Free swimming, like the name only says, it can go about anywhere in the water. Free swimming. Now these are radially symmetrical. Radially matlab, if there is an organism, you can cut it into two equal halves. any plane you cut, it will give you two equal halves. So that is called as the radially symmetrical. Now the question is why we call it as a Cnidaria. Okay, why we call it as Cnidaria is presence of cnidoblasts or cnidocytes. Now these cells, cnido, that's why we call it as Cnidaria. Okay, cyte or blast means cells. Now these have something called as stinging capsules. Let me zoom that image for you. So here, can you see this entire structure here is called as a cnidocyst or a cnidoblast. Okay, you can see this purple colored spring-like structure here, and a blue colored barbel and a purple colored barbel. Now what it does is these string-like structures are sitting inside the cnidoblast. Okay, that is called as the nematocyst, the sting-like structure. So when they need food, or when they are attacked, or when they want to attack, okay, offense, defense, food, for all that, prey catching, what they do is immediately sometimes their entire body, sometimes only at their tentacles you find this. So what they'll do, they will immediately jut it out. Okay, and these will go and sting the organism which is troubling it, or sting the organism that it wants to eat. Okay, one of the two. So therefore that is what it does. Now that is about the cnidoblasts or the nematocysts. So these are your nematocysts. So what is it used for? Anchorage, so to attach to some place, or if something is attacking it, defense ke liye, or if it wants to eat a food, eat some organism, so it will catch the prey that way. So these are the different ways. Here you see tissue level and diploblastic. So if you remember, tissue level would mean what? Tissue level means the cells aggregates are formed into tissue. They're forming one kind of function. And if you remember from my last session, I spoke about diploblasty. Diploblasty means two layers of cell, ectoderm, endoderm. So those two layers of cells are there. Here one special thing is they have a cavity, same like that of, there it is water cavity, which we call as spongocoel, porifera. Here we call it as gastrovascular cavity. That is why the word coelenterate comes. Okay, it has a cavity. It is not like the coelom. Remember, it is not like the coelom. It has something called as a mouth, which we call as hypostome, from which there is entry. So I'll show you the image. In this case, over here you would find the mouth. I hope you can see. There you would find the mouth. Okay. Here also, here within the tentacles, here also it would be over here. So you would find these mouth-like structures. Hypostome we call it. Okay. Let me erase the ink. So when we talk about this, it is imperative we have to talk about the body forms here. Very important when it comes to coelenterate. Okay, I'm looking down because of the live chat. Okay, seeing if there's anyone up with the chat. Okay, so here, so you know your jellyfish, Physalia, that is your Portuguese man of war. So they all come under this. Also the same thing if you think about Hydra, corals, they also come in this. So usually there are two body forms. One would look something like a polyp, and it would have its tentacles on the top. So this is the polyp form. Another form would be more or less like an umbrella. Okay, and its tentacles would be somewhere here. Okay, it would have tentacles, multiple tentacles coming. So it would have an umbrella shape. So if it has an umbrella shape and it is free swimming one, we call it as the medusa. Why do we call it as the medusa? Medusa matlab, remember the what do you call it? The monster, okay, which has a lot of snakes on its head, right? So that, with that in mind, how does the medusa look? Umbrella with a lot of tentacles, right? That's why it's called as the medusa. Similarly, here we have a polyp, which is sessile, does not move, cylindrical, has its tentacles on the top. Okay, now most of your corals are these, that is polyp. What it does, it releases an extra skeletal structure made up of calcium carbonate. That's why your corals look very pretty. If you break it off, it is just its exoskeleton part. The remaining, the organism may be still inside or out in the sessile, in the substratum. Okay. In some cases, you see a metagenesis. Now, what is metagenesis? You can see the organism here. Okay, it is called as Obelia. Okay, this organism here is called as Obelia. Now, what Obelia does is it has alternation of generation. That means once in some parts it is a polyp. Then in its next generation, so when a polyp gives birth, it will give birth to a medusa. Okay, so you can see it is alternation of generation. Now, this medusa, when it is reproducing, they will form gametes, that is sexually. Medusa is sexually asexually reproducing. Now these medusa will sexually reproduce and give birth to a polyp. The polyp will asexually reproduce, again give birth to a medusa. So you can see alternation of generation. So here in this image as well, you can see these are your polyp versions. You can see the polyps here. Okay. So that is about Cnidaria. Just the images for you here. We have a sea anemone, anemone actually, the pronunciation is anemone. This is a sea anemone called as Adamsia. You can see the tentacles, polyp form. This is a freshwater, which is Hydra, again tentacles, polyp form. This is your medusa form, Aurelia, jellyfish, right? Aurelia, you can see this jellyfish here. And Meandrina is a brain coral. So this is how it's producing its outer calcium carbonate shell. Okay, inside the organisms are small versions of the Hydra, small, similar looking. Okay, that is also polyp form. Last one here is Ctenophora. Okay, so Ctenophora is a minor phylum. Okay, it is a minor phylum. Matlab, before Ctenophora was joined with the coelenterate itself because they're quite similar. But later they found out that quite a few structures are different, quite a few characteristics are different. Therefore, now they have separated it completely and put it under a new phyla, that is phylum Ctenophora. And this is a minor phylum because it does not have many species. Only few species are there. Okay, that's why it is a new minor phylum. We don't know many organisms under this. These are exclusively marine. You will not find any freshwater forms of them, exclusively marine. They are called as sea walnuts or comb jellies. I'll show you why. Okay, I'll show you the image. Now these are diploblastic, so ectoderm, endoderm, tissue level organization, again same like coelenterate. What is special here is they have 8 rows of ciliated comb plates. So you would see in the organism it would have 8 such rows. Okay, 8 rows this way. And they would be ciliated. You can see that has ciliated. We call this as comb plates. Okay, comb plates. They are usually used for locomotion. They also show one special feature, that is bioluminescence. So therefore, when disturbed, okay, or generally, usually they are found in darker areas. Therefore, they give this light bluish tinge color, and they wherever they are present, you can see that bluish tinge. Okay, so that is called as a bioluminescence. They produce their own luminescence. Okay, here again sexes are not separate, therefore hermaphrodite, and they mate only by sexual means. There is no asexual method. Fertilization is outside the body and development is indirect, matlab there is a larval form. Now you can see, I told you they look, we call them as sea comb jellies, or we call them as a sea walnut. Doesn't this look like a walnut? Therefore we call it as a sea walnut. Also comb jellies because it has those comb, I said no, 8 combs. So if you see in this image, can you see? Here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. Okay, so it has 8 such combs. You can see it's transparent. So you can see the comb here, which is on the back side actually. It's on the back side of the organism. So this is Pleurobrachia. We also have Ctenoplana. Now Ctenoplana also has 8 combs. So you can see those 8 combs. If you see properly, you'll be able to see, and you can even see the ciliated version here. Okay, it is ciliated. So this is again Ctenoplana. Okay. So with this concept coverage is done, we'll do MCQs. Now let's see if anybody is available to answer. If you have your answers, you can put it up at the MCQs part, at your live chat part. Okay, we have live chat here, and I get to see it. Obviously, I know that there is a time gap. Maybe what you answer by the time I see it, it might be a little late. Okay, so no issues. You can answer. I will definitely see it. Also, what I would like to tell you is here in this part, when I give MCQs, you have to answer the live chat. When you answer the same thing at Unacademy, your app, what will happen is, usually when I put up a question, I'll put up a poll. So you can click on the answer. So do come and see that part because it is interactive and fun. So let me talk about this now. Coelenterate is common, which is commonly known as a freshwater polyp, is Aurelia, Hydra, Obeliais, Phycelia. So what would be the answer here? Any answers here? Okay. So here if you see, freshwater polyp. We are talking about coelentrates, and coelentrates, I told you, a majority of them are marine. And here also it is very important for you to know that you should know the medusa and polyp difference. Okay, polyp is a cylindrical shape, medusa is umbrella shape. Therefore, here Aurelia medusa, which is jellyfish. Obelia shows both alternation of generation. Here Phycelia, it is again your medusa form, that is umbrella shape. So here the answer is Hydra. Hydra is that green color structure I showed you. It is cylindrical and fresh water as well. Next one. Which one is not typical to all poriferans? Okay. So which of the following features or characteristics is not typical to all poriferans? So perforated body, coenocytes, system of pores and canals, presence of spongin fibers. Now here, what is not typical? Perforated body. All of them have pores. That is why we call them as poriferans. So all of them have. Therefore, all of them will have coenocytes, collar cells. It is a must, because otherwise water will not move. System of pores and canals. Like I said, here again canal systems vary. We have Sycon type, Ascon type, Leucon type. There are many types. These are three main types. Okay, but that we are not going to go there. But this statement, you see, it says presence of spongin fibers. It is true, but is it for all of them have spongin fibers? No. Some of them can also have spicules, right? Some of them can also have spicules. Therefore, presence of spongin fiber is not typical. Okay, typical can also be spicules also. So it should be both spongin or spicules. If it was written, it would be correct. Next one. Members of phylum Porifera are exclusively marine, exclusively freshwater, mostly freshwater but few marine, mostly marine but few freshwater. So what did I tell you about Porifera? The sponges, majority of them are actually marine. You will find a few cases like spongula, which are freshwater. Okay, it's not completely exclusively marine, because we also see a few freshwater types. Therefore, mostly marine and few freshwater. Okay, so you can still answer if you are available. Okay, because ma'am is answering, you don't need to think, I will sit quietly. You can answer. Fine, it does not matter if it's wrong. I'm here to help you out, right? Fine, fourth question. The most appropriate term to designate the life cycle of Obelia. Okay, we have neoteny, metagenesis, metamorphosis, none of the above. Now, what did I tell you about Obelia? It has alternation of generation. So, from polyp to medusa, and that medusa again will give birth, after sexual reproduction, will give birth to polyp. You can see there is alternation of generation. So, that is called as a metagenesis. Okay, that is called as a metagenesis. Now, neoteny is usually when the juvenile form, that is larval forms, only get a little bit of sexual maturity. Okay, that is called as neoteny. Then we have metamorphosis, wherein when there is indirect development, the larval form to the adult form, they have to grow, right? So that growth is called as a metamorphosis. The transformation is called as a metamorphosis. Fifth one. What will happen if a sponge is cut into maximum pieces? These will die. B, they will differentiate. C, every piece will form a sponge. D, every piece will develop into organs. Okay, now here what would be the answer? Let me see if there are any answers. Okay, right. So here, sponges can undergo asexual reproduction, right? And asexual reproduction is by means of fragmentation. So therefore, what would happen if you cut an organism sponge into multiple pieces? Each piece will develop into a sponge. Okay, so each piece will develop into a sponge. Next one. Hydra is which of the following? Diploblastic is there, radial symmetry is there, acelomate and coelomate is there. 2 again, diploblastic is there, radial symmetry is there, coelomate and acelomate is there. Now, Hydra comes under what? It comes under coelentrates. Okay, it comes under coelentrates. So, coelentrate shows what? It shows a tissue level, right? It shows a tissue level. Therefore, it is diploblastic. Okay, it has not come to an organ level also. Therefore, it is diploblastic. So, it has to be between these two. Now, the question question is symmetry both. Yes, radial, it is mentioned everywhere radial. We don't have to worry about that. The next question is if it is acoelomate or coelomate. Coelenterate has, it's called so because it has a cavity. But that cavity is not coelom. Remember I told you, coelom should always be lined by a mesoderm. In this diploblastic organism, mesoderm is not there only. Therefore, it is definitely not a coelomate. It is acoelomate. So, it is diploblastic, radial symmetry and acoelomate. Next one. Read the following and answer the question. Exclusively marine, radially symmetrical, diploblastic. Okay, exclusively marine only should tell you something. Tissue level. Now, body bears 8 rows of ciliated comb plates. This also should tell you what it is, which obviously helps in locomotion. Extracellular, intracellular digestion. Okay, that can be a little confusing for you. Don't think about that. Reproduction is only by sexual means. So these points are enough to tell you what it is. Sexual means 8 rows of ciliated comb and exclusively marine is enough for you to tell what the answer is. So we have Porifera, Coelenterata, Cnidaria and Ctenophora. So here with the 8 combs it is Ctenophora. That is the minor phylum. Cnidaria and Coelenterata is the same. Porifera we already know it does not come under this. 8th question. Nematocysts take part in locomotion, offense and defense, food capture, all of the above. Where do you see nematocysts? If you have answers, please put it up in the live chat. So where would you see nematocysts? You would see in case of Cnidaria, right? Cnidocysts. Now that helps in locomotion. It helps when it is offended, it can attack. When it has to defend itself, it can attack. Okay. Also, if it wants to capture its own food, capture its prey, that also it does. So therefore, it is all of the above. Why is Ctenophora a minor phylum? It includes small-sized organisms. It includes few genera. Does not include animals of economic importance. It was earlier included in Cnidarian. It is true it was earlier included under Cnidaria, but that is not the reason it is a minor phylum. Okay, they found, like I said, different characteristics, a little few different from Cnidaria. Therefore, they decided to make it into a separate phylum. Now, why it is a minor phylum is because it has very few kind of species, few genera. It may have many number of organisms. Okay, number of organisms may be many, but the name, the type of organism, the genera, okay, is very few in number. You will find only few genera and species. Therefore, that is why we call it as a minor phylum. Hello Sharif, welcome to the session. Yes. Last question for the day. There are images here, 1, 2, 3 and 4. You have to identify each of the following. Options are provided here. You can answer it accordingly. So if you are available, please do answer. Else I will go ahead. Okay, so it is the last question for the day. So usually YouTube sessions I put up only 10 questions. At plus I put 25, 30 sometimes, and special sessions 20. Okay, so here, if you see in this case, this is a jellyfish. So what is the name for jellyfish? Aurelia, right? It should be Aurelia. Here you have sea anemone. So sea anemone, the name is Adamsia. Then you have, this is a your nidocyst or a nidoblast or nematocyst. Okay, so I will name it as nidocyst or a blast, cyst or blast. And then finally here we have a ctenophoran, okay, ctenophoran which is pleurobrachia, okay, which is pleurobrachia. So which is the option which marks it perfectly right? Yes, it is the B one. So therefore, that is the correct answer. So with that, we are done with today's session. Okay. So if you like this session, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. It is there. You know where the like button is. So give me a like button there. Click on the like button there. You can see me at the platform regularly. And my code is NIVEDITALIVE. So if you're planning to get into a plus subscription, it is NIVEDITALIVE. So that is my code. Batches are live. I take up biology for the batch. Don't forget to enroll in the batch if you're there. Okay. So when you put up a code, it will show you all the offers. So make sure you put one of the educators' code. Fine. So with this, I'm done for the day. I will see you in my next session. session. Okay, so my next session upcoming is on the same chapter. It will come in a few days. I hope to see you in that. I also hope to see you at our platform. Okay, I wish you would be a regular student. Anyways, I will see you in my next session. So this is me signing off for today. See you next time. Till then, happy learning. Stay safe. Stay focused. Bye bye.